There's something happening right now. Something that doesn't make headlines, doesn't appear in the news, but is working behind every emotional attack, every doubt, every discouragement that tries to paralyze you. And the most shocking thing, Jesus revealed exactly how to escape it, using just 2 words. Simple words, yet so powerful that, when you understand them, the enemy completely loses control over you. You need to hear this. Few have the courage to talk about it, and this can change your life. Since ancient times, the scriptures have revealed the existence of spiritual forces that try to lead humankind astray from the truth. Many call them deceiving spirits, others, forces of darkness. But in early Christian literature, especially in the texts studied by Jesus' first followers, these entities were called Archons, spiritual beings that try to govern the human mind with fear, doubt, guilt, and illusion. And for centuries, this revelation remained hidden, ignored, despised, forbidden. But Jesus did not leave his people defenseless. He taught a spiritual secret, a code of liberation that breaks the influence of these forces and opens the eyes of the spirit. And today, this forgotten truth is being revealed before you. If you are watching this, it is not by chance. You were chosen to hear this. Something within you will awaken, and perhaps that is why God brought you here today. Jesus always spoke in parables, metaphors, and spiritual codes, not because he wanted to complicate things, but because some truths can only be understood when the Spirit is ready to receive them. He knew that certain revelations could not be delivered to a closed mind, trapped in the visible, the immediate, or dry rationalism. Therefore, his language always provoked, challenged, and awakened the inner being of those who listened to him. When Jesus spoke, he did not want to inform, he wanted to transform. He sought not only to transmit ideas, but to open spiritual eyes, touch the soul, and break invisible chains that kept his listeners imprisoned without realizing it. And one of these truths was this: human beings live surrounded by invisible traps. Traps that have no physical form, no weight, leave no mark on the skin, but leave deep marks on the mind and spirit. They are silent traps that hide in thoughts, emotions, and the distorted interpretations we make of life. They are traps that try to make us believe lies about ourselves, about our worth, about our future. And the worst part is that they are so subtle that many people spend their entire lives thinking they are just normal thoughts. These traps do not attack the body, they attack the mind, because whoever controls the mind controls behavior, controls decisions, controls direction. Therefore, the true spiritual battle does not begin outside. It begins in the mind, and the silent thoughts that try to settle in without being noticed. And when a person doesn't understand this, they begin to fight against everything and everyone, without understanding that the true enemy is never the one in front of them, but the one trying to influence what happens inside them. The Archons, as they were called by some early scholars, cannot touch your soul. They have no authority over that which is born of God. But they can try to influence your thoughts, because it is in the mind that doors open or close. They try to infiltrate with ideas that seem to be yours, but are not, with emotions that seem natural, but are sown, with feelings that seem harmless, but have a destructive intention. And how do they do this? With phrases that seem simple, but carry spiritual poison. Things like, "You won't succeed." This phrase, for example, tries to undermine your strength before you even take the first step. It tries to make you give up before you try. It is a weapon to cut off your movement, your initiative, your courage. And the worst part, it disguises itself as a common thought. But the truth is that it never came from God. Then comes another. "You don't deserve it." This one is even crueler, because it tries to mess with your identity. When someone believes they don't deserve something good, they start rejecting open doors. They start pushing away opportunities. They start sabotaging themselves. The person begins to live as someone who is apologizing for existing, always thinking that everything good is for others, never for themselves. This phrase is a prison, and many live in it without realizing it. Another phrase they use is, everything will go wrong. This is an arrow planted in the heart to steal hope, to extinguish faith, to paralyze vision. When you believe that everything will go wrong, you stop dreaming, you stop sowing, you stop hoping, you stop praying with conviction. And when someone stops hoping for something good, their life stagnates. Nothing flows to a heart that has given up prematurely. And the best known of all, you are alone. This is used in moments of pain, abandonment, silence, prolonged waiting. When a person is emotionally vulnerable, this phrase enters like a shadow. It makes you believe that no one sees your struggle, that no one hears your prayer, that God is distant. But this is the biggest lie in the spiritual world, because God never abandons his people, even when the silence seems to scream the opposite. And that is exactly where Jesus' teaching comes in. He knew that the greatest battles would not be fought against visible demons, physical storms, or external enemies. He knew that the war would be against thoughts. Therefore, at a key moment, he revealed the two words capable of nullifying all influence of these forces. Do not fear. Short, simple, direct words. Spiritually explosive. It may seem like something small, almost obvious, but it is not. Spiritually, these words carry authority. They carry presence. They carry power. Jesus' "do not fear" is not a motivational phrase. It is not an emotional reminder. It is not human consolation. It is a spiritual code. It is an order from heaven to the mind and to the heart. It is as if Jesus were saying, do not let fear in, because if it enters, it will dominate. It is a command of spiritual defense. Why? Because fear is the door through which the Archons try to enter. Fear is the channel. It paralyzes. It imprisons. It blocks faith. It distorts vision. It suffocates the spirit. Fear makes you see giants where there are none. It makes you believe that pain is permanent. It makes you forget God's promises. Fear is the opposite of faith, and where fear reigns, faith weakens. And where faith weakens, the mind becomes vulnerable. That is why Jesus repeated these words dozens of times, because he knew that fear would be the most used weapon against his children. He knew that the human mind would be attacked with worries, anxieties, imaginary scenarios, false sensations. He knew that fear could destroy dreams, drive people away, interrupt processes, steal destinies. That is why he did not say, do not fear, just once. He said it repeatedly, almost like someone training a warrior for battle. These words are not just advice. They are a spiritual command. When you say do not fear, you are not just repeating something, you are exercising authority. You are closing the mental door where the enemy tries to enter. You are saying, not here, not in my mind, not in my heart, not in my life. You are raising a spiritual shield against the attack. It is like declaring, I know who walks with me. I know who guards me. I know who reigns. It's like saying, I am not alone. I am not unprotected. I am not vulnerable. Every time you say, do not fear, you remind the spiritual world that you are aligned with the kingdom of God, not with the kingdom of shadows. You are reminding them who your Father is, who your protector is, who your sustainer is. These two words become a key that breaks the influence of doubt and destroys the lies sent against you. A key that prevents fear from feeding within your mind. A key that opens space for faith to breathe again. And many people don't realize that faith, when created, becomes strength, clarity, and direction. And perhaps you don't realize it, but many of the battles you've faced in recent days weren't against people, situations, or problems. They were against thoughts planted to divert you from your purpose. Thoughts that tried to tire you, discourage you, distract you. Thoughts that wanted to make you think, maybe it's not for me, ... Maybe God has forgotten me. Maybe I don't have the strength. But none of this came from God. You need to hear this. Few have the courage to talk about it. But the truth is that fear is the trap, but faith is the way out. Faith is not a feeling. it is a spiritual posture. Faith is a daily choice. It is looking at the invisible as more real than the visible. It is trusting what God has said, not what negative thoughts try to say. Faith does not deny reality, but faith refuses to be dominated by it. And Jesus didn't say, "Do not fear," just as comfort. He said it as a strategy for spiritual warfare. He knew that these words would serve as an invisible wall between you and that which tries to destroy you from within. He knew that when you declare these words with faith, something rises up within you, a strength, a courage, a firmness that does not come from you, but from Him. Fear tries to tighten the heart, but faith expands. Fear tries to close paths, but faith opens them. Fear tries to darken the future, but faith illuminates. Fear tries to destroy identity, but faith restores. And that is why Jesus needed to teach this repeatedly, because He knew that, day after day, different thoughts would try to make you forget who He is and what He promised. When someone allows fear to rule, they begin to live driven by imaginary scenarios, never by spiritual realities. They make decisions based on danger, not on purpose. They avoid opportunities out of precaution, not discernment. They hide when they should advance. They retreat when they should remain. Fear is an invisible leash that prevents the Christian from living all that God has prepared for them. But when someone learns to say, "Do not fear," everything changes. The mind changes. The heart changes. The spiritual atmosphere around changes. Because fear loses its power when you lose the fear of fear. The enemy loses its strategy when you no longer react to the traps that once paralyzed you. And the most interesting thing is that fear doesn't need to disappear for you to win you, just need to prevent it from dominating you. That's why Jesus never said, "Stop being afraid." He said, "Do not fear." In other words, don't let fear rule. Don't let fear decide. Don't let fear determine what you believe, how you live, or where you go. Feeling fear is human, but being dominated by fear is spiritual end. That's exactly what do not fear breaks. You may feel fear knocking at the door, but you don't have to open it. You may hear fear screaming, but you don't have to obey. You may perceive fear approaching, but you don't have to surrender. Because when you say do not fear, you're declaring that your trust is not in emotions, but in God. Many people forget that fear was the first negative emotion recorded in the Bible. When Adam fell, he said, "I heard your voice, and I was afraid." That is, fear entered the world as a consequence of spiritual separation. Therefore, fear is not just an emotion, it is a spiritual system. And Jesus came to break that system, restoring the bond between man and God. Every spiritual attack begins with a thought that tries to generate fear, and every miracle begins with a choice that refuses to fear. Faith and fear are doors, and you can only go through one. If you open the door of faith, the presence of God enters. If you open the door of fear, destructive thoughts find a place. That's why, when Jesus said, "Do not fear," it was selling. Do not open that door, it was signing. Do not accept that thought, it was signing. Do not let yourself be caught in the trap. Because he knew that if fear enters, it takes root. And if it takes root, it tries to build a fortress. And if it builds a fortress, the person begins to live surrounded by walls that they themselves did not realize they erected. Many today live inside fortresses that were not built by God, but by thoughts planted by the enemy. Fortresses of insecurity, anxiety, guilt, self-deprecation. Fortresses made of phrases repeated so many times that they have come to seem like truths. But Jesus came to tear down these walls, and he did so starting with two simple words: do not fear. When you include this in your life, something begins to align. Your mind becomes lighter. Your heart breathes better. The presence of God becomes more perceptible, and you begin to realize that much of what destroyed you before now seems small. Because when fear loses its power, the enemy loses territory. Fear makes God seem small, and the problems seem large. Faith does the opposite. It makes God seem large, and the problem seems small. Fear distorts vision, but faith corrects focus. That's why Jesus wanted you to understand this code, because he knows that when you learn not to fear, you become someone the enemy cannot easily manipulate. Every do not fear that you declare with faith is like a sword that cuts negative thoughts at the root. It's like a shield that prevents the fiery arrows of doubt from hitting you. It's like a light that drives out mental darkness. The enemy works in the shadows, but where there is light, he loses strength. Many of the attacks you faced weren't physical. They were mental. They were attacks in the middle of the night when you were alone. There were thoughts that came out of nowhere. They were fears you never had before. They were doubts that seemed to grow from nothing. But now you know that none of that was a coincidence. It was an attempt to create openings. But when you say, do not fear, you close those openings. You strengthen your mind. You position yourself spiritually, and that positioning attracts God's favor. Because God acts where there is faith. He moves where there is trust. He answers where there is surrender. Do not fear doesn't mean living without challenges, but living without being enslaved by them. It means looking at the unknown, knowing that God is already there. It means facing the future, knowing that he goes before you. It means feeling fear, but not bowing down to it. That is true spiritual freedom. Many people live waiting for God to remove their fear, but God is waiting for them to stand up and say, do not fear. Because when you take that position, God takes the lead. When you resist fear, he strengthens you. When you stand firm in faith, he opens paths. When Jesus said this to the disciples, he was preparing ordinary men to experience extraordinary things. Because no one fulfills purpose living dominated by fear. No one grows spiritually by running away from battles. No one experiences the supernatural by hiding from what frightens them. That's why he repeated so often, do not fear, because he knew it would be impossible to win spiritual battles with an enslaved mind. He knew it would be impossible to preach, heal, liberate, transform, if fear ruled. He knew that for someone to live what God planned, they first need to be freed from within. And this liberation begins with two words. Two words that echo through time. Two words that carry power. Two words that open doors. Two words that break chains. Two words that make tremble what tries to destroy you. And these words are, do not fear, spoken by Jesus, full of authority, implanted in the spirit of those who follow him. And when you declare them, you are aligning your mind with the mind of Christ. You are saying to the spiritual world, I am not a slave to fear. I am a child of God. And when you live this, nothing dominates you. Nothing paralyzes you. Nothing destroys you. Because whoever learns to overcome fear becomes invincible in spirit. Whoever learns to close that door is never again deceived by invisible traps. Whoever learns to say, do not fear, lives a faith that the enemy cannot break. And perhaps today, you felt exactly that. Perhaps you woke up with a weight on your chest. Perhaps you heard thoughts that weren't yours. Perhaps you were attacked in areas you thought were already healed. Perhaps something inside you screamed, give up, stop, you won't succeed. But listen carefully. These thoughts do not define you, and they do not come from God. Today you are receiving the key. Today you are receiving the weapon. Today you are receiving the two words that Jesus left to set you free. Do not fear. Say this now. Declare this over your life, your home, your mind, your paths. When you say this, you're not just repeating a verse, you're activating a promise. You're reminding the spiritual world that you don't walk alone. So, if you've listened to this message this far, understand, nothing is a coincidence. The spiritual world is real. The battle is real. But victory in Christ is even more real. And today, God is saying to your heart, I am with you. I will sustain you. I will strengthen you. Do not fear. You didn't arrive at this video by chance. There is a purpose being built in your life. And what God has begun, no one can stop. If this message spoke to you, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And don't leave yet, because there's another video appearing on your screen now. And I'm sure it will open your eyes even more to what God is doing. May God bless you. And until the next video.